Well, hello, welcome back. I'm Reverend Tomas Garza, and you're watching the really long-standing now video series, A Course in Miracles 365, Awakening to Love, which began, as some of you know, as a live stream on Enlightened World Network, which is no longer a live stream, but we're recording all of these videos and offering them both on my YouTube channel and on the YouTube channel for Enlightened World Network. So wherever you're joining me from, thank you for doing that. And what I thank you for, more than the subscriptions, more than the clicks, sure, in today's digital world, that's all well and good. But what I thank you for is your own effort that you're making for yourself, for your own spirituality, for your own growth, for your own awakening. It's that willingness that I'm grateful to you for. And yes, it's wonderful that you're watching. It's wonderful that you're paying attention. And I very much appreciate all of the interaction that I get with you in the forms of comments, in the forms of questions. Yeah, that's what I'm here for, is to simply show up and serve as a guide. Just that. Naturally, what you do with everything that I share is 100% up to you, because I, nor, well, neither myself, nor any teacher, none of us can wipe away everything for you and make all your decisions for you. We can't snap our fingers and make you perfectly enlightened. Sorry about that. I'm laughing because if I could have done that, I would have done it long ago. But that's not the way it works. So to the extent that you are taking this material to heart, I thank you for that as well, because you will have noticed how much it benefits you and how much it benefits everyone, everybody around the world, because it does. It's literally a ripple effect. So what we're doing today is we're taking a look at question 4 in the Manual for Teachers, which provides further clarification of the material that's in the text and the workbook of A Course in Miracles. And it does so in what I think is a beautiful and ingenious platform. It's an FAQ section. Quite honestly, it's a series of frequently asked questions that a seeker, a practitioner of this course, of this material, would naturally want to ask. And Jesus gives his answer to some of these. Now, question 4 is, what are the characteristics of God's teachers? Well, what are we like? What are you like? Because you're also a teacher, by the way. We're always teaching and we're always learning from one another, from ourselves, from life, aren't we? So what are the characteristics? Well, and there are 10 that Jesus mentions here in the manual specifically. First and foremost of these is trust. Trust in who you really are, yourself, capital S, not lowercase. The distinction here is who you really are versus your ego, the ego self that thinks it's separate. The real, true self, you can capitalize, lowercase on the ego. To the extent that that distinction, it's literally just a capital letter, but that's what we're talking about. Trust in who you are as the Christ, as the Son of God. Based on that, there are 9 characteristics that naturally flow from that trust. And today we're looking at patience. Beautiful, isn't it? Quite simply, patience. So no matter what your spiritual practice is, no matter what your background is, doesn't make any difference. I invite you to take a look at your current practice, whatever it is you're doing, whether or not it involves this course. It does not have to. This is a self-study curriculum that you can use on its own. That is something that you could certainly do, but that's not required at all. That's not required. This material can shed light on your current practice. And if that's the way you use it, excellent. Excellent. Yeah. In fact, it can be really helpful on someone's walk. Most definitely. So take a look at what you're currently doing and then look back. Look back just for a moment on where you were when you began this practice that you're currently doing. Now, it might have just been yesterday, so you might have what we would consider a small sample size, but for many of you, that is a period of several months or years or decades even. Where were you then? Where are you now? Are you more patient? Are you more trusting in your higher self, in your guide or guides? Are you more trusting? Are you more generous? Right? Are you more forgiving, more kind, more loving? Are you more patient? I invite all of you to engage in this exercise, for lack of a better word, from time to time. Yes, the past is gone, but on the path, we can all get discouraged, can't we? We all have those days where things don't appear to be going well for us, where we find ourselves judging a lot. Maybe we're simply having a bad day, and maybe we're allowing ourselves to get sucked into all of the drama that surrounds us in the world pretty much at all times. Whatever the situation is, we're going to have those days where we question whether what we're doing is working. And this can be a handy way to redirect yourself. It can be a handy way to look at, who was I when I took this practice up? Who am I now? How have I changed? What's different? Am I more patient? Because when you trust in your higher self, patience is automatic. Why is that? Because if you're trusting, you can be certain of the outcome. So you can await the outcome without anxiety, just as Jesus says here in the manual. You can afford to be patient. So if I look patient, I'm patient a lot of the time. I've got my moments. Everybody's got their moments, don't they? But this is what we do on the path, is we learn from those. And on the path, by practicing a thought system, such as A Course in Miracles, you learn to recognize when you're carried off so that you can quickly redirect. Those who trust can afford to be patient, certain of the outcome. The outcome is certain. You can relax and trust that. And if you find that you're not able to do that, trust is the first step in all of these characteristics. Our job here as spiritual practitioners is to relax and trust. This is a choice that we make. I choose to relax and trust. choose to chill and let go. Yeah. Having practiced that as much as you need to, which might be quite a bit, who knows? I don't know what your exact situation is. There are many people in the world that suffer from acute anxiety. I know several of them. I have family members that suffer from acute anxiety. So I'm sure that you can also name people that you know, whether they're family members, friends, work associates, whoever. In learning to trust who you are, yourself, capital S, you can afford to be patient because you're certain of the outcome. The outcome, complete awakening, is certain. What we don't know and what we cannot control, although we would certainly dearly love to, is when. We have no control over the timing of that. But in learning to relax and trust, we relax and trust that it's going to happen when it is supposed to happen. This is how a teacher of God appears calm, certain, 100% certain that complete and full awakening, realization of our true nature, coming home, so to speak, certain that that is the outcome, we can afford to show up calm and patient, releasing control over the timing of when, and engaging, especially if you're a student of A Course in Miracles, engaging in the practice of forgiveness, forgiveness of everything and everyone, including yourself, forgiving the past. If you like, you can forgive specific instances in the past. Or it's also highly effective to generalize and simply forgive the past, period, future too, present too, everything, until forgiveness becomes second nature and it automatically comes from you. Sure, we're not going anywhere, but this is something that we can work on. When you are trusting, you can certainly afford to be patient. And what happens here in the world when you show up as more patient? Well, for starters, you're more relaxed. Comparative reality doesn't work here. You may never be as chilled out as the Dalai Lama or a Buddhist monk that's been meditating for many, many, many years. That's all right. What's important is that you choose love and learn to relax and trust in the present moment. Because the more you do, the more relaxed you will be. And because we all are connected to each other, people will notice. One of the things that you can ultimately look for, maybe today, maybe it's already happened, and maybe it's not yet to occur, but you can count on the fact that when you show up trusting, patient, and certain, people will begin to drop their defenses in your presence. Pay attention to that. That is one way you can tell that you're on the right track. Their defenses will drop and people will begin to feel safe in your presence. Very important and, of course, very rewarding for the teacher, for the person who's showing up calm and patient. And then when that goes on, the ego wants us to have that go to our heads, but we continue to extend love. We continue to extend patience, knowing that people are either extending love or they're issuing a call for love. And if you can help people by showing up, you don't even have to say anything necessarily. Nonverbals can tell the entire story, can't they? You can just show up. And if you're more patient, then people's defenses will drop. Sometimes they'll crumble all together. And that is when your impact in the world is greatly increased. Now, you may feel that this is a long way off for you, and I can certainly appreciate that, especially if we're having a bad day or we're having a bad week or year or even decade. I don't know. I mean, the 2020s have certainly gotten off to a bizarre start with the pandemic, haven't they? And everything else that follows that. It's full of opportunities to forgive. That's the way that Jesus would love us to view everything that is going on in this world, as an opportunity to extend love, an opportunity for forgiveness. All we have is the present moment. And if it feels like this patience is a long way off, the question for you is, what can you do right now to just relax yourself a little bit more than you currently are? Is it putting your phone down? Is it turning off the television? Is it watching this video, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, on YouTube instead of something else? Because there's a lot of content out there. Is it that? Is it taking a walk? Is it a bubble bath? Is it simply taking one breath in and one breath out and paying attention to it, relaxing into it for an instant de-stressor? You have time for that, don't you? For the next breath. If you don't, then that means that you're leaving the body behind. I mean, that's what's happening if you don't have time for the next breath. So all of these are just things that you can do. You can choose to do any one of these, or you can choose to do something of your own, but whatever works for you to cultivate that relaxation and trust, I invite you to go forth and do. Because if you can get even one person, even yourself, especially yourself, to drop your defenses, if you can get yourself to drop your defenses, even for a split second, you'll show up as more certain. You'll show up as more patient and calm, and people will notice. You will have an impact on them. And the one, of course, that you'll impact the most is yourself. That's what this is ultimately all about, is extending love. You extending love, not waiting to receive it maybe from another person, but you giving it right here, right now. Where else, when else would you be? That applies to each and every one of us. All right, guys. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in here. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you again.